Before we get started on this, I want to let you know this is not a political post. Now, I'm going to flash two flags up on the screen, and I want you to think about them. If either one of those flags offended you, there is a problem, and we're going to talk about it today because I want to walk through this. It is killing people, and it is tearing the nation apart. Now, if both of those flags offended you, that's fine because you know what? They're both against U.S. flag code. So guess what? It's okay if they both offended you. But if one of them offended you, that's not okay, and I'll explain why in a minute. But before we begin, I'm going to tell you again, this is not a political post. I don't give a shit what either one of those flags stands for, and neither should you. It doesn't fucking matter what the flags stand for. This is not about that. So if you're going to get on here and you're going to go off on a rant about rainbow flag or blue stripe flag or green stripe flag or purple stripe flag or Barney fucking stripe flag, I don't give a shit. This isn't about politics, and if you start commenting about that in the middle of or in the bottom and you start getting all in fights about crap, then you might as well just not watch the damn video because you're proving my fucking point. So, that being said, the reason it is bad for you to be offended by one of those and not the other is this. They're both wrong. They're both against flag code. So any argument you could possibly have about one flag or the other and why it's wrong is absolutely biased bullshit. That's right, it's biased bullshit. Because nobody cares about how you feel about this or how you feel about that. You're letting it play into your head and you're letting it decide which one of those two you get offended. So either you shut your mouth and pretend you don't care about either, or you shut your mouth because if you argue that one is wrong and you don't argue that the other is wrong, you're just adding to the chaos and playing into the fucking media frenzy that is everybody trying to pitch everybody against each other. So I remember a time when I could grow up and I could debate stuff with people and they wouldn't get all fucking miserable about it and woo with me, all right? And I know some of you are thinking, oh, the liberals do that. Well, guess what? So do the conservatives. And I know that freaking bothers you, but here's the reality. If you can't have these conversations with a level head, there's a problem. Now, I'm going to stop the rant piece for a second because this is not going to, it's just not conducive. All right, look, being real with you. If you're in a debate with someone about any subject, and you think you're being factual and you think this and you're going to feel like you're right, because that's how the emotions work. And, you know, anger and fear, and those are like two of the strongest emotions. So people play on that. And you're being played. Oftentimes when you're really angry about something, you're being played, whether someone's trolling you or whether it's the media or whether it's whatever. The reality is this. You need to step back. When I get frustrated about things I see online, I take a step back. You need to think about what is at least one, but what are the positives, the things that you can agree with on the other side. And I'll tell you this right now, if you can't find something from the other opinion that you don't agree with, then you're not thinking rationally. You're emotional. You're all twisted up and you're all pissed off and you're all frustrated. You're not thinking straight. And that means that no matter how right you are or how right you think you are, there's pieces of the argument that you're not going to be able to have, right? You're going to just irrationally, you're going to look over what the other person says. Irrationally, you're going to assume that everything you say is right, even if they provide facts. You're going to think they're bullshit. So you need to do yourself a favor and everyone else a favor and recognize that. If you can't think of a positive for what the other person is saying, or at least something that you think like, oh, I could see where they're coming from on that, and here's why, and you can't put yourself in their shoes, the best thing you can do is bow out of that conversation and just say, look, I'm not ready to have this conversation with you. I can't have this debate. Because it's just going to be a mess. And it's just going to breed hate. And it's terrible. And now I'm going to turn the rant back on. And that's what's wrong with the nation. We are sitting here doing this and tearing each other apart and just assuming everybody's wrong. We're not willing to look at the other person's side. And yes, that goes for both sides. So immediately, if you're thinking like, oh, I know it. I know he said it. Those other people. No, it's you too. If you can't think about what the other side's thinking, if you can't come from their point of view, if you can't have a discussion where you both look for solutions, it's a waste of your time. It's a waste of their time. You might as well just stare at a wall. Don't let it get to you. Here's a great trick for you. If you have friends who are just this emotional, like angsty, just trying to piss everybody off person who can't have those debates, just unfollow them on Facebook. I'm not saying unfollow everyone who disagrees with you. I'm saying unfollow people who are irrational about what they agree about and just try to invoke emotion. Whether that's someone who agrees with you or not, it's not worth seeing that crap on your newsfeed because it'll get you all wrenched up and it's just not worth your time. It's not worth their time. It's not worth anybody's time, and you don't need to be involved in that. You owe it to yourself to be able to debate topics civilly, intelligently, and thoroughly. And if you can't do that, then you're doing yourself a disservice as well as everybody you're debating with. Likewise, if somebody else is being uncivil and just unintelligent or irrational, don't waste your time debating with them. They're going to bring you down. They're not going to help. Nothing is going to be accomplished. There will be no solution. And so you need to take some time and you need to focus and inflect on what you believe, why you believe it, what other people believe, why they might believe it, and try to find solutions. And you just need to, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to everyone around you not to get fired up and debate those things if you're not thinking rationally. It's just chaos. You're just creating chaos, and that's just not going to help anyone out. So that's my 2 cents on debate. And as I said, if one of those flags pisses you off and the other doesn't, you need to think about why it pisses you off, because it's an emotional reason, not a logical reason. If one argument pisses you off and the other one doesn't, think about both sides. Try to rationalize things. Try to be intelligent about things. Try to think things through. Try to look for facts. And I will say this, it's becoming a lot harder for factual debates because you can find facts to support anything that you want. If I say that getting fat is good for me, I promise you I can go find an article that tells me fat people are happier and fat people have less stress because they eat and fat people do this. That doesn't mean it's healthier. That means this article agrees with what I said, but you're ignoring all of these other ones that disagree with what you say. So you need to take some time and you need to understand that it's always possible to find an article that backs up what you agree about, or what you think or believe or whatever. You know what I'm saying? What you believe. I'm not even going to edit all that crap out. That's whatever. It's always possible to find a video or an article that showcases and proves what you believe in. That doesn't necessarily mean it's true. That means someone agreed with you. It doesn't mean you're right. So try to think logically and try to look for actual proof and facts. And newsflash, you could be wrong. In fact, you are a lot of times. But this is how you advance society. This is how you benefit yourself and your fellow man or woman. This is how we solve things, as opposed to just spiraling out of control where we all hate each other and we play into this anger, fear-mongering media trap that is trying to tear this country apart. I hope this helped you out a little bit. If it did, share it with some people. Don't share it just because they think this way, but share it in general and let some people see that maybe, just maybe, the anger and the fear is not worth their time. Have a great day, guys.